What is up, y'all? Welcome back to my channel. So we're back with another product look, and to start off my base, I'm using a erase base from Milani Cosmetics. I like to put the product in my hand and then like rub my hands together, kind of warm it up. And now I'm taking a clingy primer from Wet n Wild, and this is basically like, I feel like a dupe for like the Hydro Grip from Milk Cosmetics. I like that one, and I also like the Essence one that you can get from Ulta. But now I'm just putting that disposable hand palette on my hand. That way I can put the stuff like the color fix on my hand and not like take forever to like take it off. But I'm brushing through my brows with that disposable spoolie with that color fix, and I feel like this is the easiest way for me to like change my brow color. Like, you could get like an angle like liner brush or whatever, and like, you know, just do it like you would do it with like a dip brow or like a product like that. And sometimes I do that. It just really depends on like the look, but 9 times out of 10 like this works pretty well for me, like with my brows. And I don't have to set it because the color fix does dry down matte, so you know that's a plus, because I hate trying to like, you know, set a whole product for my eyebrows especially. Like, that's annoying. But I'm taking another color fix. This is the shade Valentine, and I'm using this as the eyeshadow base for my eyes. And the highlight color for my face is going to be pink. That's why I chose pink for the color. And I'm basically just blending it out, trying to make sure it's as even as possible, because you know, when it comes to your eyeshadow base, if your base is uneven, like certain parts like have more product or whatever, sometimes that can like cause issues when you're trying to blend out eyeshadow. But even though this color fix does like, you know, basically dry down matte, I still like to set it with like a translucent powder just to make sure my like eye base is pretty good, because I do have like creased eyelids, and if I don't set it, sometimes like it causes issues and like the product like, you know, lifts. So that's just me trying to make sure like my look is gonna look good. But I'm going in with the Berries palette from Beauty Bay. I love Beauty Bay. They have pretty affordable palettes. Like, usually there's a sale going on, but I think the palettes are like $20-$30. It just depends on like which one you get, but there is like a bundle deal for a bunch of different ones. That's how I usually get mine. But I'm using these colors. I want to do like a pink and purple look, because this look is inspired by the bisexual flag. My bad. But yes, so I'm basically doing like purple, pink, and blue, and I want the eyeshadow to be like kind of like bluish in the middle, just to like, I'm trying to like be intentional where I put certain colors, because I'm like, okay, my like contour is going to be this blue color, my like, you know, under eye or my highlighted areas is going to be pink, and my base is purple. So I was really just trying to be intentional about what colors I put where, so that it kind of makes sense and it balances out. That's like kind of a thing when it comes to me and my makeup. I try to balance things out. That's why sometimes, you know, I'll have a calmer lip if I have like, you know, really bold brows. It really just depends. But I'm just taking the color fix from the Next Mars Beauty, and I basically cut my crease with that, and then I'm adding this like eyeshadow, like this kind of like metallic blue eyeshadow from Pat McGrath. I'm basically just applying it on top, and it makes the color so much more intense. That's why I love using the color fix to actually like cut my crease, because it's like a base. Like, one is already going to dry down, but adding a shimmer on top, I just feel like it pops a little bit more, and it makes the shimmer a little bit more vibrant. And right here I'm adding like a little bit of glitter glue around my eye, because I wanted to add this glitter on top just to make it even more extra. It didn't necessarily need it, but you know, I'm sorry. I am a dramatic girly, so you know, sometimes I just want to add some extra stuff just to make it, you know, more dramatic. But I basically filled the entire area where that blue is with glitter on top, and you can see that it adds a little bit more sparkle. But I'm just trying to be careful and like trying to make it as even as possible. And now I'm just lining the top of my lash line. I always do this when I do my makeup. I feel like it just helps my lashes blend in with my like fake lashes I put on. And I just used a liquid liner. I like liquid liners because I feel like they're a little bit easier to work with, and like they're more flexible than like basically like the felt tip. I hate felt tip liners, I'm not gonna lie to you. I tried so many different ones, but it just doesn't eat for me with my like products like I use on my face, because there's been so many times where like things have lifted up and it like makes me want to crash out. So no. And then to be even more extra, we're taking some rhinestones from Get Stoned, and I'm placing them along my cut crease, because you know, why not? Like, you know, I'm just gonna be pink and purple, so you know, why not just add some more after I just added glitter? Might as well. But the way I basically like pick up my rhinestones is I will put like lash glue wherever I'm putting them on my face, and then I'll put a little bit of lash glue on the back of my hand, and then I will like basically take my disposable spoolie and dip the bottom into the glue, and then I will pick up the rhinestones from the top, so basically from like the jewel part, and like leave like the silver like back facing upward. That way I can literally just apply it straight to that area. That's like the easiest way for me to do that. And then I'm over here trying to make my like like a base color. So I'm mixing a couple like different like pinks, purples, and blues. This is the Made by Mitchell color case in electrics. I'm almost out of it, so I'm like debating if I want to get another one or not, because I feel like this is a pretty good product and I've used it so much for so many different face paint looks. I feel like using a cream like this is a lot easier to apply and create a face paint. Like when it comes to like different colors and stuff, I feel like this is the easiest way for me to do it. I used to use a color fix from Desmarais Beauty, and I feel like that works. It's just those are more drying products, so like it doesn't feel as good on your skin. But sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do for a look. And basically I'm just trying to blend out this purple as much as possible and make the base look as even as possible. And when it comes to me doing my base, like, you know, you probably could do like 2 layers on that, but I don't want to do 2 layers. Like when it comes to face paint looks like this, like I try to do like the least amount of steps as possible, but I'm trying to make sure that my base is blended. And then I will basically do how I do my normal face routine. I will come up with like a highlighted color just to like put underneath my eye, on my nose, my chin, my forehead. So that's kind of what I'm mixing now. So I mix that like vibrant pink, then one of those lighter pinks, and then some white, and I basically mix it with like a little spatula, like a makeup spatula. But you could, if you need to use a brush, you could use a brush. This is just the easiest way for me to do it. And I'm basically just trying to make sure that is even as possible. And then I'm applying this concealer, quote unquote, wherever I would highlight normally, and I'm just blending it out. When it comes to me doing my face paint looks, I like to do everything in small sections, because I'm not gonna lie to you, sometimes it can dry down before you blend it, and you do not want to do that, because then you're gonna be struggling to fix your base afterwards. So yeah, that's why I move in the smaller areas. And now I'm just making a bluish color for my contour, and I'm mixing some of that Desmarais Beauty Magic Sealing Set. This is basically like a mixing medium that kind of makes it the consistency of the color fix, which I love, because like I already love like the Made by Mitchell color case, and I feel like it's easier to work with that product, and it makes it a little bit easier, like a little bit more blendable when you add that mixing medium. And this is something like I just started doing like not too long ago, like literally like a week or 2 ago. This was like one of the first times I ever did it, but I like how it like makes everything look. So, you know, I probably will actually be doing this a lot more. But, you know, if y'all need me to do a face paint, like, you know, tip video, or like just go over like the basics, like for like a talking like demo, please let me know, because I know some people have asked me about like how I get vibrant colors and stuff. And the trick for me is to do my base, whatever like cream or liquid products, and to take these pigments from Genuine Cosmetics. This is actually me like mixing a custom color, and I basically use these to set my face instead of like regular translucent powder, and it makes it so much easier to build up the color, because the pigments are pigmented. And if you want to tone it down, you could use like translucent powder or like a white setting powder. That's what I've done in the past. Just add a little bit of translucent powder, and basically it'll like thin it out a little bit, but you're using pigment. So this is like one of the most pigmented like elements or like materials that you can work with. So yeah, it's gonna pack a punch, so you know, just be mindful about that. But do y'all see how that like color has built up? I would have had to do so many different layers to build it up to this color, and I don't really want to do that. Like I don't. But basically what I do first is kind of like my regular base routine. I set the highlighted areas of my face first, so basically like underneath my eye, my chin, and my forehead, underneath my jawline. And then you see me over here making a base color, so I wanted it to be more purple than pink, and this is kind of what I came up with. And I'm basically just setting the rest of my face. Like I try to like stay away too much from like where I contoured, just to like not like, you know, overpower it, but I kind of like blend along the lines. And yeah, as you can see, this is so much more pigmented than it was a second ago. It does change the tone of your like base, so you know, when you're mixing the colors, be intentional. Like try to figure out, do you want it to have like warm undertones, do you want it to have cool undertones, like do you want it to be neutral, like all that stuff. So you know, you can mix it. I didn't mix the blue because I was like, I really don't need to, but I like mixing it in like those little disposable or like those little like containers that you can get from like places like Dollar Tree. That's usually where I get mine from, and I just save the powder for whenever I need to do a look similar to this. But I want to do like a labeling system, so I might start doing that. But now I'm taking like an eyeshadow brush. It's so much easier for me to do like my contour on my nose with an eyeshadow brush, because it makes it like become a little bit more, I feel like, intentional. Because like when it comes to those bigger brushes to contour your nose, like it would be everywhere. It just wouldn't be like as precise as I wanted to. And now I'm taking a berries palette again. I'm basically doing what I did above my eye, underneath my eye. I just do this to make the eyeshadow like blend a little bit more, and also it helps with like my actual like under eye, my bags under my eye, because when I add the eyeshadow I feel like the product lasts a lot longer than when I used to just do like concealer under there and like just set it with a setting powder. But yeah, this is just like a little tip. And I like to smoke out my under eye, and I'm adding this black eyeliner pencil from About Face. This is the Shadow Stick in Kill the Lights. I love this one. This is literally my favorite eyeliner. Like, I have been trying to find like different ones of this, but this is just like, you know, chef's kiss. And of course I had to add blush. I love me some blush. So I literally took one of those Jelly Wing pigments. I just took it like straight out of the container, and I basically poured it on like that little like the paper from the disposable hand palette, and I'm just adding the blush wherever I would add it. And I feel like it added a nice little, you know, chef's kiss. Like, it just added to like the look in general. And then I'm setting it with my hydrating setting spray, and now I'm going to highlight my face, and I'm using this loose pigment from Slay Ready Cosmetics, and I believe this is Angel Quartz. It's like a purpley blue highlighter, and I wanted it to like kind of match the colors I use in my base. And then I'm just basically applying the highlighter everywhere where I normally would. And I'm using that liquid liner I use above my lash line to draw my moles back on, because I don't know, I just like drawing my moles back on to make them look a little bit more like, you know, actual like you actually can like look at them, because some people don't even realize I have moles on my face until you look like close or you look at the picture. And then I'm just taking one of these shimmers from the Nestmars Beauty Lightwork palette, and I just add it on top of my brows because I want them to be a little bit like more vibrant. And then I'm setting my face with that liquid lock from Made by Mitchell, and I'm doing the same technique I did with placing my rhinestones on my cut crease, but I'm adding the rhinestone to my eyebrow slit, which is kind of like a staple at this point. Okay, so now that I'm done putting those rhinestones in my eyebrow slits, I'm going to put this mascara on. This is from Win Beauty. I like to use a bigger like lash mascara, or a bigger wand, my bad. But I like to use the bigger one on my top lashes, and I'll usually use a mascara that has a thinner one on my bottom lashes. So this is the REM Beauty Lifting Mascara. You could also look at the Made by Mitchell Lash Liqueur. That's also like a thinner one. And then also the 1994 mascara from About Face. It's a pretty good one. That's one I use a lot. But I use those color fix to basically mix like this purpley blue shade, so I can use that as like basically the perimeter of my lip combo, because I wanted to do something that was basically just the colors that I use for this look and not go too crazy, because I wanted to just look like this makes sense for like the color of my base, if that makes sense. And I tried to use the lip sync from Made by Mitchell. I don't know what it is with this product, but like every time I try to apply it, and like if I like press my lips together, like I don't know what it is, but like it's like it lifts up in certain spots, and I don't know why. But like I've tried it on multiple occasions, but maybe I need to do something different. But I'll update y'all if I figure out like how to do it. But I just decided to use that like same like pinky shade I used earlier, the color fix from the Nestmars Beauty, and I'm basically just blending it everywhere, trying to make the lip combo like pink in the middle with like an ombre like bluish purple like around it, and then like the blue purple on the outside. Make it as pigmented as possible till it makes sense. Like I feel like this gives like a natural lip combo for my face to be pink and purple, if that makes sense. But I'm using this INVF Feline lash. This is style 04, and this is like one of my favorite lashes, I'm not gonna lie to you. And I just put some like black lash glue, because I prefer black lash glue when it comes to me putting my lashes on. And I'm just taking this ColourPop Pokemon lip gloss, and I'm adding it to the perimeter because I wanted to not be like too crazy, but to have some shimmer. And I'm using this Beam gloss from Made by Mitchell, and then I'm gonna like basically put my lashes on. I let them sit while I do my lip combo, usually that way they get a little bit tackier, because I say like wait like 30 seconds. Usually like I'll do 30 seconds, or if I'm in a rush it might be a little bit less than that. But the tackier it is, usually the easier it is to apply, in my opinion. But this is the final look. Oh my god, chef's kiss, chef's kiss. But if y'all have any videos y'all want to see me do, or have any questions, please let me know. And I love y'all so much, and I will talk to y'all later. Bye.